Hi, welcome to my presentation on creating reusable content in Microsoft Word for the Facilitating Learning in Emerging Technologies in Blended and Online Environments course. This particular project has multiple objectives. We're going to give an overview of audience, the purpose, and the content of the course, which is going to include the learning activities and the teaching theories that were addressed throughout the course. The audience for this course are, in fact, my clients for my organization, clients who've already attended courses with us. It's likely they've seen the features that are going to be used as reusable content, but they just don't know how to fit them together. So they might have taken a Word Level 1 course or a Word Level 2 course, and a Word Level 1, one component of reusable content is something like page numbers and headers and footers. And in course level 2, another component of reusable contents are sections. And with sections, you might have multiple headers and footers. So putting them together can be a little bit difficult sometimes. So that brings us to the purpose. The purpose of this course was to fill in the gaps in learning from an instructor hands-on training course to when the need arises for clients to use what they've learned. In the course, they're going to create a product. The training can help the clients put pieces together like a puzzle, and if they're familiar with the content, they can gloss over it. If not, they can preview the videos and watch them a little more carefully. And this can also create an on-demand resource for them post-class. So in this particular course, we have several areas. So now we'll start to talk about content. So the course is created in Moodle, and you can see here an introduction to the Create a Usable Content in Word course. The learners would register for this course as they would any instructor-led hands-on training course. When they register, they're given a timeline so they know the date of the course and things like that, and they know the commitment. This course was created with several software applications. It was created with Moodle, Screencast-O-Matic, which is also what I'm using to create this video for you, and YouTube. In addition to these components, the learners in the course would also use something like VoiceThread or Zoom. So in that case, one of the activities uses VoiceThread, and I'll talk about it a little bit more, as a collaborative environment where the course participants can each create videos and then comment on each other's videos and then add to them and edit them and things like that. So it's really kind of neat for them to be able to watch each other and record themselves doing something. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Zoom is a tool that we use for our webinar. So the course participants would have to create both a VoiceThread and a Zoom account. So then we get into the course. And in the course, there are several areas for course participants to work through. One of them is an introduction, and in that introduction is a welcome. And then you can see there's a grading for course activities and an introduce yourself. So there is a component of introduce yourself to the other course participants. In addition, though, the welcome actually includes all the specifics like key course factors, including the course schedule, to ease anxiety. When are things due? What is expected? And the video purposely includes the facilitator, so the learners can associate the name to the face when getting feedback. The intent is to make the learner as comfortable as soon as possible. So then as the learner goes through the course, so in the welcome area, there was a schedule. So it might have said the course started May 1st. So if the course started on May 1st, then the learner would go in and then they'd have module 1. And in that particular module, as you can see here on the screen, you can see that there's a series of videos. So they're given some instruction and then they're given links to those areas. For example, there are 3 videos here and a try it activity. So those videos are also showing the amount of time it will take to go through the video. In the welcome area, they were told that even though each video only takes a certain amount of time, like 5 minutes and 31 seconds for creating a template, they should plan to spend a half an hour to an hour with each one, just so they can stop it, pause, try it, do what they need to do as they interact with it. And then they have the try it activity. In this case, creating a template. Now in this activity, the learner is given a series of instructions. And, once they've watched the video, the intent is they already have information, they already have experience. Now, all of these activities are actually using experiential learning. So the course participants are going to read the instructions, watch the videos, and then read these instructions, and using information from their past experience, in addition to what they might have learned through these videos, they're going to then create a template. So in this particular case, it's a very simple activity to create a 3-page document, and then it explains what's on page 1, what's on page 2, and what's on page 3. And then it also gives some directions contains headings. Page 3 contains headings. Agenda list, agenda item 1, agenda item 2, agenda item 3. And then the idea is to format the document headings, one of them, and then do the rest using Format Painter. Format Painter was the third video in that module. On page 2, so the second to last bullet, the learners were actually directed to create an auto text entry as a closing for the letter. And that is using the Quick Part feature. The auto text feature is a portion of Quick Parts. So the idea is they're using what they've learned in the videos and again, working on what they've already known. So using Piaget's constructivism, they have the opportunity to learn from their experience and then learn further as they're able to gain a little bit more. So in this case, they put together in one area of reusable content a template, Quick Parts, using Format Painter. Now the whole intent of this course is to be self-paced. So even though the learners are told that the course is a 4-week course, each module is approximately 7 days, with the exception of the last module, which is about 10. And the intent is, although there is a time frame to it, throughout that week, the learners only have the one triad activity. So they have the opportunity to spend the week getting to know the information, working with it, and then do the triad activity, which they do post for the facilitator for some feedback. And then the facilitator would give feedback based on the grading sheet that's in the welcome module as well. And the intent is personalized feedback. It's formative. It gives the learner the opportunity to understand what they could have done differently, how they could have used a feature, and so on and so forth. So now we have course module 2, and this is going to not only use some other reusable content components or features of Word, but now we introduce the opportunity for folks to work in Zoom. So in the welcome module, there's a lot of components in there, so it's a pretty long module that folks have to read too. But in the welcome module, they're also told to glance at module 4, where they're going to do a comprehensive activity. So they're able to meet in a Zoom session if they want to discuss the team activity. So they can do that starting in week 2. So now they might have to incorporate some conversations with other members of the group. Now, to keep things light, there was an area, so to keep things relative to what the learners need. Most of these triad activities are independent activities. So using Zoom, that can have 2 components to it. One, certainly it can be what the learners need to use to talk about the comprehensive activity, to kind of determine who's going to tackle what in the activity. We'll get to that more when we talk about Module 4, but the welcome video has already kind of explained that a little bit to them. But 2, they also have the opportunity to say, hey, in Module 1, what did you do? I was having trouble with this. Or in Module 2, I tried this, and what did you do? So they have the opportunity to have some group conversations that way. If they don't use Zoom for that, there's a Q&A area where, once again, they're introduced to in the welcome activity. But they have the opportunity at any point during the course to post questions. And the intent is so they can interact with the group, but also the facilitator would be giving feedback there as well. So in this case, we're in Module 2, and there's also a Try It section. And the whole idea is to not only give them some experiential learning, watch it, do it, but also to give them the opportunity to do some scaffolding as well. So they learned some components, now they're going to build on that, but we don't want them to forget what they learned before. So they're asked to create sections and headers, but they're also asked to look back and create a heading as a quick part. Now in Module 4, they're going to reuse that quick part. In this particular case, they're also given a document. The Writer's Booklet Activity 1 is a document that has no formatting, so it has all this content. But so they're asked to put a section break in it. They're asked to do some other headers, some footers with some special page numbers. And then they post it for facilitator feedback. Now, because this is a registered course, the facilitator is going to give feedback as soon as someone posts the document or the completed document. So unless they post it at midnight or something like that, approximately the next day, the facilitator would take a look at it. Now, in our particular instance, if we had this course and it were filled with a ton of folks, then we would have the opportunity to put multiple resources on it for that feedback. Now in course module 3, once again, we're designing content. So in this case, we talk about styles and table of contents. And we're just building on what we know, because in this case, if I go to the triad activity, so this is an example of a video, just a snippet of what a video would look like applying styles. But going to the triad activity, they're asked to open a document, Writer's Booklet Activity 2, and apply headings and things like that. However, this document is a replica of the document they were already using in the previous module. So it has the section breaks, it has the footers, it has the quick part header, and then they have the opportunity to build on that to almost complete the document by applying styles to certain areas. Heading 1, main topics, heading 2, subtopics, heading 3, subtopics, and then create a table of contents of those items. And then post the file for facilitator feedback. So scaffolding has been used to say, look what you've done, now look what you're doing, to help create that completed document. All the while, these folks are physically creating these documents. So the perfect assessment is, can you do it? So they do create a product afterwards. And then we have course module 4. This is the comprehensive group activity. This really puts all the pieces together. This allows them to go from start to finish and create that document, but in this case, working with others. So in this course, in this module, there are no videos, but there is a triad activity. And in the comprehensive activity, the idea is that the folks in the course work in teams. Now, if for some reason there's low registration in the course, then this activity could be an independent activity. So in this module, scrolling down, there would be an area. If it's an independent activity, this is what would happen. But let's imagine we have enough folks in the course to work in teams. So we have a team 1, team 2, regardless of the number of components in the course, the learners in the course, because we would, in fact, limit how many folks would attend the course. Then we would have each team works together to use the file that's assigned and create the items that are listed here. So team 1 is going to use one document, team 2 is going to use another. The idea is that they're going to get together, talk about who's doing what, and then in this case, use the tool VoiceThread and then use Zoom so that they can converse with each other. So VoiceThread, though, is a tool where one learner could create a video on creating a template that included headers and footers and styles and things like that, or some quick parts. And then another one would put them together, or another person would add the section. So they could either add a different video of that same document, which could be uploaded to VoiceThread as well, and adding other components, but they can also, the group can also comment on the other person's video or documents or things like that. So in the end, they have this collaborative area, but then this final document at the end. This is the ultimate group activity, because not only does it give folks the opportunity to work as a group, and hopefully throughout the course they've had the opportunity to do that, but they're asked not only to create the product, but to record themselves doing it, to show their level of comfort with the tool. The learner is also asked to describe what they're doing in the video, so it helps them explain the steps so they're understandable to others, and then they're encouraged by their group as they work together to get the document created. So we're using a series of options here to ensure that the learner truly understands not only what the tools and features are, but how to use them. So are there any questions? I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thanks for taking the time. And, I love the whole idea of experiential learning and then building something from start to end. So thank you.